Hello guys, no, so welcome back sa another accounting tutorial. No? Ang topic natin for today ay basic earnings per share. Sana all, no? Sana all my earnings, no? Sana all my earnings. No? Pero this time, no, nasa accounting naman tayo. Okay? So kung ready ka na, simulan na natin to. Madali lang to. Basic na basic mo lang 'yan, 'di ba? So, ano po ba ang earnings per share? Ang earnings per share po ay isang key financial metric that shows how much profit a company generates for each share of its stock. From the word itself, profit, earnings, profit, no? Pero yung profit na kinikita ng isang kumpanya sa bawat share nito. Eh sir, anong share 'yan? 'Di ba? Now, ang earnings per share po ay ordinary share oriented. So ang focus po ng EPS natin, no, yun yung po yung earnings na na-allocate natin sa bawat ordinary share during a given period of time. Sir, bakit wala pong preference shares? No, excluded po ang preferred shares. Bakit po? Kasi nakaka-receive na sila ng dividend nyo. Meron na po silang fixed or predetermined dividend rate doon. Hence, hindi na po sila nakikipag-share sa residual profits. Hindi na po sila nakikipag-share sa net income. Okay? So, ang earnings per share, ordinary share oriented. Yun po yung profit na nag-generate ng company sa bawat share nito. Pero, sa ordinary share lang. Kasi, may predetermined dividend rate na sa preference shares. Alright? No? So, yun, no? Yun yung overview ng topic na ito. Eh sir, ano po yung PAS 33? Now, ang PAS 33 po or ang earnings per share ay under PAS 33. Ang sinasabi ng PAS 33, no, ina-outline dito yung method for calculating earnings per share and mandates its presentation in two formats. Dalawa pong format yan. Basic earnings per share at diluted earnings per share. No? In this video, basic earnings per share muna tayo. Focus muna tayo doon. Sa mga succeeding videos, no, God willing, may diluted earnings per share naman. Alright. No, so presentation din ng earnings per share ay required daw para sa mga public or mga entities whose ordinary shares are publicly traded, no? Or entities that are in the process of issuing ordinary shares or potential ordinary shares in the public securities market. No, sa madaling sabi, no, sa madaling sabi guys, no, required po ang earnings per share sa mga public entities. Required silang i-present yung earnings per share nila sa financial statements nila. However, yung mga non-public entities, hindi sila required but are only encouraged to do so. Alright? No, so, yun yung PAS 33. No? Overview ng PAS 33. Eh sir, aanihin ko ba tong earnings per share? Ano bang gamit ng earnings per share sa business realm? Diba? Unang-una, for investor decision making. Siyempre, yung earnings per share natin, it helps investors evaluate a company's profitability on a per share basis. Siyempre, total mag-i-invest ka, gusto mo, panalo ka. Gusto mo, profitable yung company na pag-iinvestihan. Oh. And also, kung mas mataas yung earnings per share, syempre, it signals stronger financial health. 'Di ba? Mas mataas yung earnings mo, syempre, mas malakas yung financial health mo. 'Di ba? Kumbaga ba hindi ka nagkakasakit when it comes to financial matters. And it can attract more investment. All right? And number two, no, for performance comparison. Siyempre, bawat kumpanya may earnings per share, yung mga public entities. And from there, you can compare. You can compare yung performance nila based solely sa earnings per share nila. And useful din yan for benchmarking. Alam mo, parang compare and contrast lang yung dating. Okay? And lastly, for dividend policy insights. Siyempre, mas mataas yung earnings per share, more likely na magbabayaran ka ng dividends. No? Siyempre, kung ganun, mag-invest ka na kasi mataas yung earnings per share, babayaran ka. May mas mataas yung return mo through dividends. Okay? And first, no, tingnan muna natin yung formula. Di ba? Siyempre, kabisaduhin muna natin ano ba yung formula ng basic earnings per share. Paano mo ba siya i-compute? No? So, sa numerator mo, may net income, ibawas mo dyan yung preference dividends. Di ba ang sabi ko po ulit, ang earnings per share, ordinary share oriented. Hence, yung numerator mo, yung net income mo, hindi dapat kasama dyan yung preference dividends. Kaya yung dapat na matira, yun lang yung attributable sa ordinary shares. Alright. Kaya yung denominator mo, weighted average ordinary share outstanding. No, mamaya, no, sa mga succeeding discussions, no, papakita ko kung paano ba mag-compute ng weighted average ordinary shares outstanding. No, pero this time may mga special notes lang ako. No, una, no, if yung preference share is cumulative, no, parang kahawig niya lang to yung book value per share. Magkamag-anak lang sila. Pero this time, ang ibabawas mo lang, no, sa preference dividends ay isang taon lang. Ang ibabawas mo lang sa net income na dividend nyo ay isang taon lang. Unlike book value per share, pag cumulative, pwede mong i-declare lahat, di ba? Pero pag non-cumulative, isang taon lang. Pero pag earnings per share, iba ang atake dito. No? Iba ang treatment dito ng dividend nyo. Since net income ka lang for the current year ka lang. Okay? So, simulan na natin. If yung preference share daw ay cumulative, yung preference dividend for the current year only is deducted from net income, regardless of declaration, whether yung such dividend is declared or not. No? Hence, kapag cumulative yung preference dividends, whether may declaration or wala, magdideduct ka. Pero, isang taon lang. Current year. No? And anong gagamitin mo? Annual preference dividend rate. Yung dividend rate ang kukunin mo, no? All right. So, number 2, no? Or letter B. Paano naman, sir, kung non-cumulative? Kapag non-cumulative, may deduction lang, no? Pero yung deduction na yan, current year dividend only kapag may declaration, no? Yung preference dividend mo is deducted from the net income only if there is a declaration. Okay? Ganun po ulit kapag non-cumulative. And lastly, no, kapag nga po may mga significant change sa number ng ordinary shares during the current year, no, that's the time na magiging useful yung weighted average number of ordinary shares. Kaya nga po yung denominator natin, weighted average ordinary shares, no? Kasi nga po, syempre may mga kumpanya yan, 'di ba? Laging nagbabago yung outstanding shares nila kasi sobrang daming ini-issue na ordinary shares on a yearly basis. Okay, kaya mas magandang i-weighted average. Oh, sir, paano ba yung weighted average? Generally, shares are usually included sa weighted number of shares from the date the consideration is receivable, no? Which is usually the date of their issue. Kasama lang yan, no, sa weighted number of shares from the date of their issuance. Kung kailan sila na-issue. Oh, sir, for example, may illustration tayo. Noong January 1, may shares issued and outstanding. Noong April 1, nag-issue sila. Noong May 1, nag-share split 2-for-1. Noong June 30, may 10,000 na shares for treasury. And 31 ng July, may share dividend na 20% and last day ng December, may share split na 3-for-1. No? Hihimayin natin yan ngayon. Okay? So, paano po ito? I-explain lang, i-clarify lang natin. No? So paano po ba nagwo-work ang weighted average, no? Simulan natin sa share split, no? Yung share split natin na 2-for-1. And yung 20% na share dividend tapos yung last na share split na 3-for-1. No, ang sabi ng standard dito, no, sa computation ng weighted average number of shares, yung share dividends daw at share split shall be recognized retroactively. No? Anong ibig sabihin nun, sir? No? Meaning, they shall be treated as a change from the date the original shares were issued. No? It is as if nung in-issue mo tong 100,000 shares na to, may share split na 2-for-1. It is as if nung in-issue mo tong 30,000 new shares na to, may 20% na share dividend na, may share split na 3-for-1 at may share split na 2-for-1. No? Parang ganun. Or sa madaling sabi, ganun na nga. Kasi retroactive siya. Okay? So, paano magiging atake natin dyan? No? And additionally, no, yung presentation ng comparative financial statements, share dividends and share splits are treated as if they had occurred at the earliest period presented. No? As if they had occurred. Sabi ko nga po, retroactive. Yan. Okay? So, tignan natin. Sir, paano po ba nag-work tong share split na 2-for-1? Simulan natin dito sa May 1. Kasi nag-issue siya ng share split na 2-for-1. Ang share split po, kapag silent, split up. Kapag split up yan, ang sabi dyan, 2-for-1. Hence, yung number of shares, mamumultiply ng 2 times 2. And yung par value divided by 2. Huh? Times 2 yung number of shares. Pero yung par value mo divided by, for example, may 10,000 shares ka at 50 na par. No? Tapos nag-declare ka or nag-issue ka ng share split 2-for-1. Hence, 20,000 na kasi mata times 2 eh. Pero yung par, madi-divide by 2, 25. In essence or in effect, parehas pa rin yung par value nila. Magiging 50K pa rin yan. 20,000 times 25 na par value, 500K rather. 10,000 times 50, that's 500K pa rin. It's just that yung number of shares lang na multiply by 2, pero yung par value na divide by 2. Okay? Pero ang babantayan natin dyan, yung number of shares. Since hindi naman relevant yung par value sa atin sa pag-determine ng weighted average kasi ang kinukuha natin, di ba, yung number of ordinary shares outstanding. Na in this time, yung number of shares mo mamumultiply ng 2. Okay? No? So, simulan natin. And sabi natin, yung share split daw, retroactively. Ang ginagawa ko dyan, itinataas ko. No? Parang lagi kong iisipin na, uy, itong share split na to nakaapekto yan, no? Dun sa mga inunahan niya. No, kasi May 1 ito eh. Ano ba yung mga nauna sa kanya? January tsaka April. No? And also yung share dividend din. Alam ko, sinasabi ko sa sarili ko na yung 20% share dividend na yun, yung mga nakauna sa kanya, yun yung makakaapektuhan mo. And hindi yan pababa. Hindi siya pababa. No? Hindi siya pababa. Pataas siya. Spaghetti pataas. Ay, pababa ba yun yung spaghetti? Ay, hindi ko na nakalimutan ka na. Itong share split na to na 3-for-1, no? Pataas din, no? Retroactive siya. Yung mga nauna sa kanya, it is as if meron ng share split na 3-for-1. Oh, okay. Paano mo sisimulan yan, sir? Simulan natin sa January 1. Ang sabi dun sa January 1, may 100,000 shares issued and outstanding. Ito na yon, 100K. Tapos may share split na 2-for-1 na multiply ng times 2 yung shares. Hence, retroactive siya. Ibig sabihin, it is as if nung inisyu mo yan, may share split na 2. Diba? Na times 2 siya. Alright? Now, this time, no, bakit sir may 1.20? Ang share dividend po, na-i-increase niya yung number of ordinary share outstanding. Na dumadagdag po ang share dividend sa number of shares outstanding. Kung ang outstanding mo is 100K, madadagdagan niyan ng additional na 20%. No? Since nag-distribute ka nga po ng share dividend. Okay? So, kaya nga po nag 1.20 para madagdagan ng additional 20%. Okay, and pataas din yan, no? Pataas din yan, retroactive din yan. Eh yung share split na 3-for-1, mata times 3. Kaya itataas mo din. Alright, so pag January 1 talaga, as if may share split na 2, as if may share dividend na 20%, as if may share split na 3-4. No, ilang months siya outstanding. No, yun yung po yung kahalagahan ng weighted. Wini-weight mo siya based sa months outstanding. Ilang month po yan outstanding? January 1 issue din outstanding na siya. Hanggang December 31 yan kasi buong taon naman po ang tinutukoy natin dito. Kaya 12 out of 12. No? So 720,000 multiplied by 12 out of 12, ganun pa rin yung average. Alright. No? So tignan naman natin sa April 1. Yung April 1 po, nag-issue daw siya ng 30,000 na share. O, di ba sabi ko nga po yung share split na 2-for-1, apektado pa rin yan. Di ba? Apektado niya pa rin yung mga nakauna sa kanya. Yung share dividend, ganun pa rin. Retroactive pa rin. Apektado niya lahat ng mga shares na in-issue mo dyan. No? Yung share split na 3-for-1, apektado niya pa rin. Naabot niya pa rin yung 30,000 na bago shares. Okay, so 30,000 times 2 times 1.20 times 3. Ganun na ganun pa rin sa January 1. Oh, pero magkaiba na sila ng number of shares. So 216,000 and yung months outstanding, no? Pakibantayan to kasi in-issue siya ng April 1. April 1 to December 31. Ilang buwan 'yon? 9 months, no? Kaya 9 out of 12. So 216,000 times 9 out of 12, no? That's 162,000. All right. And lastly, no, yung June 30. Guys, wag niyong papansinin yung share split na 2-for-1 ha. Ang titignan mo lang diyan yung shares. Yung share split na to, na pag ganyan yan. Ha? Yung share dividend, pag ganyan yan. Okay? Sa mga, yung May 1, na-account na natin yan. Na-account na natin yung nangyari nung May 1. How? Sa pag-multiply pa lang dito sa mga number of shares. No, kaya and lastly, yung July 31, yung December 31, na-account na natin yan. Hence, wala na siya dito sa table. Di ba? Kasi nasama na natin sila through pag-multiply. Yun yung effect niya sa average number of shares. So, this time, nag-purchase daw siya ng treasury shares, 10,000. No? Pero, pansin mo, wala ng times 2. Diba? Wala ng times 2 kasi yung share split na 2-for-1, naka-apekto siya dun sa mga nauna sa kanya. Itong June 30, di ba? Itong June 30, after the share split na 2-for-1. Lagi ko ang sinusulat yung up arrow, di ba? O wala na yan. Yung share split na 2-for-1, hindi naman yan pababa. Di ba? So ano makaka-apekto sa kanya? Itong share dividend lang kasi pataas sila, lahat ng tumaas. Tapos yung share split na 3-for-1, no? Oh, yan lahat. Kaya yung 2-for-1, hindi niya na-reach yung 10,000 na shares for treasury. Kaya, ita times 1.20 mo na lang, and ita times 3 mo na lang. Di ba? O kaya, in total, 36,000 yan. Deduction yan kasi treasury shares. Bawas yan sa number of shares outstanding or issued shares. Issued shares minus treasury shares, then you will get outstanding shares. Okay? Pero, iwi-wait mo ulit siya. June 30 siya eh. Diba? June 30 siya. Hence, from July 1 to December 31, outstanding siya ng 6 na buwan. So, 18,000 yung ibabawas mo sa kanya. Okay? So, in total, 864,000 yung weighted average number of shares outstanding. Alright, so ganun lang kumuha, no? Napaka-dati. Diba? Kaya yan. Kaya yan, guys. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. No? So, mag-problem naman na tayo. Dito sa problem number 1, si Jazz Company daw had the following capital structure during 2024. No? So, given na to, may preference share capital, cumulative, 250K, ordinary share capital, 1. Okay? And si Jazz Company daw may 200 shares issued and outstanding. 150 nun, issued nung January 1. 50,000 nun, issued nung October 1. So, may weighted average dyan. Tapos, may net income na binigay. Pero, kasama na daw dun yung casualty loss. No, may casualty loss daw na kasama na 20K. And also, lastly, yung preference dividends daw, hindi binayaran noong 2023. Binayaran mo siya noong 2024 ng 15,000. Okay? Ang tanong, what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share? Simulan natin. Himayin natin bawat paragraph. No? So, yung first paragraph, no? Or yung formula muna pala. Tignan muna natin yung formula. Kasi yung formula dapat alam mo. Para alam mo kung ano lang yung kukunin mo, ano lang yung relevant. First, yung net income, dapat alam mo yung treatment. Ano lang ba yung kukunin mo sa net income? Ano yung ibabawas mo sa net income? And ilan yung weighted average number of ordinary shares mo? Yun na yung tatlong tanong na dapat malaman mo para makumpleto mo yung formula. Diba? Ano yung net income? Ilan yung ibabawas mo sa net income? Ilan yung weighted average number of ordinary shares mo? No? Yun lang. Para makumpleto mo yung formula. So, simulan natin, no? Sabi dito yung net income, di ba? Tingnan muna natin yung net income sa numerator. Sabi dun, yung net income daw, 500,000. Tapos, yung net income na yun, it reflects an income tax rate of 30%. And may kasama daw dun na casualty loss of 20,000 before income tax. So, anong gagawin mo dyan? Ang daming binigay. No? Tandaan, yung net income mo, from the word itself, net income na. Net na yan. Net of tax, net of losses, na net mo na lahat dyan. Na-consider mo na lahat dyan. Diba? Kaya nga po ang sabi dito, yung net income na 500,000 already reflect all items included in profit or loss, such as casualty loss. Di ba? So, nandyan na lahat. Kaya in effect, pampagulo lang yung mga additional na sinabi niya. Di ba? Hence, as is now 500K yung net income. No more, no less. Alright. So, paano naman sir yung preference share capital? This time, cumulative. Diba? Anong sabi natin pag cumulative? Whether declared or not, magbabawas ka. Or current year lang yung gagamitin mo. But this time, sabi niya doon sa paragraph, diba? The entity paid no preference dividends during 2023 and paid 15,000 in preference dividends during 2024. Anong pipiliin mo? Diba? Dota o ako? Charot. Ano pipiliin mo? Diba? May binigay na 15,000. Pero, nag-aalanganin ka kasi may 4%. Sir, ano pong silbi ng 4%? Ito po yung preference dividend rate natin. Annual. Annual preference dividend rate natin yan. O, ang sabi, di ba, yung preference dividends na gagamitin natin, only for 1 year. Gamit yung annual preference dividend rate. Ano po yun? Itong 4%. I-multiply natin sa 250K na para makuha yung annual preference dividend natin. So, that's 250K multiply by 4%. So, dapat 10,000 lang. Bakit kaya, sir, 15,000 yung binigay? Diba? Chances are, no, since hindi ka nga nag-declare o nagbayad ng preference dividends noong 2023, di ba? May pagkakataon na yung 15,000 hindi lang yan 2024. May nahalong 2023 dyan kasi nga hindi ka nagbayad noong 2023. And take note, cumulative pa siya. No? So may nahalo dyan na 2023. Hanapin mo lang yung pang 2024, yung annual preference dividend rate mo lang. Na magkano? 250K na par value ng preferential capital multiply by 4% to get it to 10,000. No? So parang kumakanta ka lang diyan, no? So sana tama yung piliin mo, no? Dota o joke lang, no? So annual preference dividend, no? Deducted din yan from net income regardless of declaration since the preference is cumulative. Sir, paano kung hindi yan sinabi? Wala yang sinabi na yan. Wala tong sentence na yan. May deduction pa rin kasi cumulative siya. And take note, pag cumulative, regardless of declaration, may ibabawas ka sa net income. Na magkano? Yung annual preference mo lang. Okay? So may net income ka na, may preference dividend ka na, buo na yung numerator mo. Diba? So tingnan naman natin yung denominator. No, sabi din doon, no, si Jazz Company daw may 200,000 shares issued and outstanding. 150 nun, in-issue nung January 1. No? Kaya ibig sabihin, nung January 1, yung 150K na yan, outstanding yan ng buong taon. Kaya 12 out of 12. Diba? This time, walang share split, walang share dividend na naganap. Kaya, walang times 2 times 3 times 1.2, di ba? Pero this time, i-average mo naman. Di ba? I-average mo pa rin. Rather. So, 12 out of 12 kasi nga, outstanding yan ng buong taon. Yung 50,000 naman, in-issue ng October 1 lang. Kaya, outstanding lang yan from October, November, December. So, 3 out of 12. 50K times 3 out of 12, that's 12,500. Kaya in total, ang weighted average ordinary shares mo, 162,500. No? So, balikan natin yung kanina, may net income ka, may preference dividends ka. Diba? O, kumpleto na. Isalpak mo na lang sa formula mo. Yung 500K, ibawas mo sa 10K, i-divide mo sa number of or weighted average ordinary share outstanding, no? Kaya ang basic earnings per share mo, 3.02. No? Kaya ang sagot, no, letter 2. No? So, napakasimple na. Sabi ko nga, basic mo lang ito. Okay? Diba? Basta alam mo yung net income, alam mo yung preference dividend, alam mo yung baba, yung denominator, di ba? Walang problema. Now, jump naman na tayo sa problem number 2. Now, this time, si Beacon Company daw had 200,000 ordinary shares. 100 and 100,000, 4%, 100 par value, non-cumulative. Non-cumulative preference shares outstanding. No dividends were declared on either the preference dividends in 2023 or 2024. Noong March 1, noong March 1, 2025, prior to the issuance ng financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024, nag-declare daw siya ng share dividend, 50%. No? Net income for 2024 was 7.5 billion. No? And this time, may mga statements tayo. Statement 1, yung annual preference dividend daw sa non-cumulative preference shares, deducted daw yan from net income only when declared. Yung share dividends daw, issued prior to the issuance of financial statements is treated retroactively to earliest year presented. And last statement, yung basic earnings per share daw should be reported at 25 peso for 2020. No? So, ayan din yung mga choices, no? So, ganito na po ang atake sa board exam. Oh, may statement na. And ang choices, titignan mo na lang kung ano yung mga tama at mali. So, modify true or false. Okay? So, simulan natin dun sa statement 1 and statement 2. Sabi dun sa statement 1, yung annual preference dividend daw kapag non-cumulative, deducted from net income only when declared. True. Totoo yan. Non-cumulative yan eh. Non-cumulative yan. Diba? Deducted lang yan only when there is declaration. Oh, sir, paano naman yung statement 2? Yung share dividend daw issued prior, no? Prior to the issuance of the financial statements is treated retroactively to earliest year presented. Tama po. Nabanggit na po natin yan kanina. Na yung share dividends natin, yung effect ng share dividends and share splits shall be recognized retroactively. No? Ibig sabihin, nung in-issue natin yung shares na yun, it is as if mayroon na ring share splits and share dividends. No? Now, what if, no? What if yung 25% na share dividend was affected after the issuance? Kasi nagkataon kasi nung March 1, 2025, prior to the issuance ng financial statements. Hence, nakahabol, may adjustment dun sa 200,000 na ordinary shares outstanding. I-adjust mo pa yan, i-multiply mo pa ng 1.5. Diba? Kasi nga, prior to the issuance ng financial statements, may adjustment pa. Eh sir, paano naman kung after the issuance of financial statements, nagkaroon ng 25% na share dividend or 50% na share dividend rather? No? Ang sabi dito, no adjustments in EPS for the separate FS of Beacon Company. Wala pong adjustment sa earnings per share kapag after the issuance of financial statements in the separate FS of Beacon Company. Ibig sabihin po, single or yung FS na inisyo ni Beacon Company ay siya lang. Siya lang yung nandun. Separate financial statements na. Kasi iba ang treatment kapag comparative financial statements na. No? However, there will be adjustments in comparative financial statements of 2025, no, for 2024 and 2025 presentation. Bakit? Kasi nga po for presentation ng comparative financial statements, yung share dividends and share splits are treated as if they had occurred at the earliest period presented. Kung ang comparative FS mo ay 2024 and 2025 at na-issue mo nga yung share dividend na yun after the financial statements ng 2024, may adjustment pa rin. Kasi yung share dividend na yun na inisyu mo noong 2025 as if they had occurred at the earliest period presented. Ano pong yung earliest period presented? Yun po yung 2020. Oh. Alright. No, so for comparative FS, may adjustment. In the separate FS, walang adjustment. Yan. Kasi isang taon lang yan. After the issuance. Pero this time, sa problem kasi natin, prior. So, bago pa ma-issue yung financial statement. No? Pero mag-stick pa rin tayo na tama pa rin yung statement number. Okay? What if scenario lang. Oh, so, this time, si statement number 3 naman, yung basic earnings per share daw, 25 pesos daw. No? Tignan natin yung net income natin. Yung numerator natin, net income. No? 7.5 million. This time, wala tayong binawas na preference shares. Kasi non-cumulative siya. Diba? Pag non-cumulative to po, magdideduct ka lang kapag may declaration. Eh, sakto. Walang dividend yung dineclare. Diba? Eh, non-cumulative pa siya. Walang deduction. Diba? Kasi walang declaration. Yung baba naman, yung denominator, since sabi ko nga po, prior to the issuance, nagkaroon ng 50% na share dividend. 200,000 na ordinary shares, di ba, imumultiply mo sa 1.5. Kasi nga po, 50%. May additional na 50% na shares. Alright, so 7.5 divided by 300K, that's 25 basic earnings per share. No? Alright, ito na rin. Nasabi ko na nga po, wala nga pong declaration kasi non-cumulative. No? Walang deduction kasi walang declaration. Alright? Okay. No? Nasabi ko na rin. So, ang sagot, no, yung statement 3, true po. Yan. So, all statements are alright. Walang ka-challenge ba? Basic, no? Or binasic mo ba ang basic earnings per share? No? Literal na basic ang basic earnings per share. Grabe naman. So, third problem. No? During the current year, si Lights Company daw had outstanding 200,000 ordinary shares. No? Sabi dito, the entity paid during the year an ordinary dividend of 400,000 and a preference dividend of 500,000 on the preference shares. But this time, net loss. Net loss na. Sir, pwede po bang mangyari yun? Yes. Kung may basic earnings per share, may basic loss per share. Diba? Kung kumikita ka, syempre, nalulugi ka din. Ganun lang po iyon. Diba? Minsan nasa ibabaw, minsan nasa, nasa baba. Alright? This time, no, what amount should be reported as basic loss per share? Dalawa, bagong topic ito for you. May basic loss. Tapos, yung preference shares daw, redeemable. No? Relax lang. Relax lang. Hindi discuss natin. And this, number 2 naman, ano daw po yung basic loss per share if yung preference shares daw are non-redeemable? No? Tignan muna natin yung number 1. Tanong dyan sa number 1, ano daw yung basic loss if yung preference shares are redeemable? Ano po bang ibig sabihin kapag yung preference shares ay redeemable? No? Kapag po ang ibig sabihin nun, yung redeemable preference shares, they are considered as financial liability. Hence, yung preference dividend na 500,000 dun sa preference shares, they are considered as finance cost. No? Since liability nga po iyan, yung redeemable preference shares, any interest or any dividend na binayad mo dun, considered as interest. No? Napapasok sa finance cost. No? Sa line item, sa income statement, under finance cost. Hence, nabawas na yan. Na-consider na yan sa net loss. Na-consider na yan sa computation ng net loss. No? Since finance cost nga siya, pumapasok yan sa income statement. Eksakto, yung income statement, kailangan mo yan para ma-compute yung net loss. Na-consider mo na yun. Kaya ignore yung preference shares na 500,000, i-ignore mo. No? If redeemable yan. No? This time, yung basic loss mo per share, net loss, divided by number of ordinary share outstanding. Sir, bakit po inignore natin yung ordinary dividend? No? Ignore ulit yan. Remember, ang binabawas mo lang sa net income, preferred dividend. Hindi po kasama ang ordinary dividends sa numerator. Only yung annual preference dividend. So, pampalito lang ulit iyan. Hindi mo po binabawas ang ordinary dividend sa net income. Okay? Preference dividend. This time, i-ignore mo naman yung preference dividend kasi nga redeemable. So, pakipansin din yung equation natin o yung formula. Net loss. Pwede magbago kasi net income kasi dati, di ba? This time, net loss naman. O di palitan mo lang. Gawin mo lang net loss yung taas. Divide mo sa number of ordinary share outstanding. O magkano yung net loss? 3 million. No? Ilan yung ordinary share outstanding? 200K. So, ang basic loss per share, di ba? 15. So, 3 million, negative 3 million divided by 200, that's negative 50. So, yun po yung net loss natin. Ang answer natin is letter 2. Alright. So, number 2 naman, sir, paano kung yung preference shares non-redeemable? Diba? Non-redeemable sila. This time, ang treatment mo dyan, hindi yan financial liability. No? As is shares talaga sila. Preference shares talaga sila. Okay? Kaya ang basic loss per share mo, net loss minus preference dividend. Since non-redeemable nga yan, i-consider mo sa equation. Di ba? But this time, no, negative. Yung net loss mo, negative. Tapos, may magbabawas ka pa ng preference dividend. Hence, kung ilalagay mo yan sa calculator, negative 3 million, bawasan mo pa ng 500, that's negative 3,500,000. No? Negative pa nga, di ba? Nabawasan pa. Oh. Kaya, in effect, yung preference shares na 500,000, di ba? Addition siya sa total net loss. Addition siya sa total net loss. Okay? Since yung preference shares nga ay non-redeemable, yung annual preference dividend natin considered na sa numerator. However, it is added to the net loss, no? To get the total loss attributable to ordinary share. Okay? Divide mo siya sa number of shares outstanding na 200,000. So, negative 3.5 million divided by 200,000, that's 17.5 na basic loss per share. Okay, sir, paano ko po kung silent? Paano kung hindi sinabi kung redeemable or non-redeemable yan? No? In the absence of any stipulation, the preference shares are non-redeemable. Hence, deductible. No? Kasama yan sa equation. Now, i-deduct mo sa net income, no? Pero i-plus mo sa net loss. Okay? So, ang sagot, no? 17.5. Letter. No, relax lang, guys. Ano, relax lang. No? Syempre, medyo challenging nga siya kasi tricky. Tricky siya in a way na nandito na lang. No? Trinay ko siya na sa three problems, lahat ng possible na ma-meet mo, nandun na. No? In three problems, parang nandun na yung pwede mong maging scenario sa basic earnings per share. No? Pero may last. Sa problem number 4 naman, meron tayong tinatawag na rights issue. No? January 1, 2024 daw, si Walter Company, meron siyang 300,000 ordinary shares outstanding. No? 100 par value or a total of 30 million. It also had preference share capital 10% cumulative at 50 par valued at 5 million outstanding at year. During 2024, ito nga po yung rights issue. The entity issued rights to acquire one ordinary share at 100 in the ratio of 1 share for every 5 shares. Tapos, in-exercise daw yung rights na yun noong April 1, 2024. Yung market value ng each ordinary share immediately prior to April 1 was 160. And the net income for 2024 was 6 million. Okay? Oh. May mga statement na binigay. Ganun po ulit. Identify mo kung true or false ba sila. Statement 1. The number of ordinary shares outstanding prior to the exercise of the rights is multiplied by an adjustment factor whose numerator is the market value of the share right on and whose denominator is the market value of share X right. Statement 2. Basic earnings per share daw should be reported at 15.71 for 2020. No? Simulan natin. Bago yan, explain muna natin ano ba yung adjustment factor na tinutukoy din sa statement number 1. Adjustment factor po, ito po yung tinutukoy niya. No? Yung market value of share right on, market value of the share right on is the market value of the share immediately prior to the exercise of the rights. No? So, ito po yung kukunin nating value na magiging adjustment factor natin. Okay? So, market value of share right on. No? Ano naman po yung market value ng share X right? Ito po iyon. No? Kung ang numerator mo, market value of share right on, ang denominator mo, market value of share X right. So, saan dyan yung X right? No? Wala kang nabasang X right dyan sa equation. Yun nga po kasi yung market value ng X right is equal to the market value of right on minus yung theoretical value of right. Ito po yung market value ng right on, bawas mo yung theoretical value of right. Ano yung theoretical value of right dyan, sir? Ito pong nasa denominator. No? O ayan po yung theoretical value of right. Market value ng right on, ibawas mo yung subscription price over number of rights to purchase one share plus one. Okay? Since right on nga yan, may additional plus one ka dito. Okay? So, tingnan natin, no? Yung sa problem kanina, kasi nandito lahat eh. During 2024, the entity issued rights to acquire one ordinary share at 100. Sir, ano po itong 100? Ito po yung subscription price. No? Ito po yung subscription. Kasi mag-a-acquire daw sila ng isang share at 100 eh. In the ratio of what? In the ratio of one share for every 5 shares. Ayun. No? So, ito po yun. Number of rights to purchase one share, 5. Diba? One share for every 5 shares. No? Market value of each ordinary share immediately prior to April 1, 2024 was 160. Sir, ano po iyon? Yun po yung market value ng share right on. No? Yun lang din po yung market value ng share immediately prior to the exercise of right. So, 160 ka dyan. No? And remember, yung market value ng share right on, 3 beses mong gagamitin. Di ba? Taas, baba, taas. Di ba? Pansinin mo mayroong right on dyan, may right on dito, may right on din dyan. No? So, 3 beses. Numerator, dito din sa denominator na 160, tapos 160 then 100. O, kumpleto ka na. Di ba? Kumpleto na yung equation mo. Di ba? Okay, i-erase ko lang. No? So, tignan natin. Sir, paano to? Sir, paano naman ito? So, kanina, di ba, nabanggit ko nga yung market value ng share right on itong 160. Di ba? Market value of each ordinary share immediately prior to April 1, 2024 was 160. E di ilagay mo. Di ba? Tapos, di ba, nabanggit ko rin na 3 beses mo nga gagamitin. Ayan yung 160. Tapos, yung 100, yun po yung subscription price. Ayan yung nasa 100. Tapos, number of rights to purchase one share, ilan po? 5. For every 5 shares. And lastly, may plus 1 ka. No? May plus point ka sa labo. Di ba? O, tingnan mo na yan. Pakisolve muna ito, itong theoretical value ng right. 160 minus 100 divided by 6. Ilan yan? 10 piso. So, 160, bawas mo yung 10 piso. Oh, that's 150. 160 minus 10, that's 150. Oh, 160 over 150, parang blood pressure lang ano. Ay, joke. Masyado bang mataas? Masyadong mataas yan, no? Sana naman, normal blood pressure lang, no? God willing, normal blood pressure lang, ano? Huwag naman sana 160 over 150. Grabe naman. For adjustment factor lang to guys, no? For adjustment factor lang. 160 over 150 ka daw, sabi ng doktor. Joke lang. No? So, 160 over 150, patandaan mo kasi madaling maalala eh. Kasi ano nga eh, blood pressure, di ba? Yun naman blood pressure yung adjustment factor. So, 160 over 150, seryoso. Tapos, dito, sabi din, no? Meron daw ordinary shares na magkano? 300,000 noong January 1. Noong January 1, may 300,000 na ordinary shares ka. And take note, yung entity daw nag-issue ng rights to acquire one ordinary share in the ratio of what? One share for every 5 shares held. Hence, may additional one share for every 5 shares held. May madadagdag na isa sa bawat 5. Ilan po ba yan? 300 ordinary shares, 300K. I-divide mo sa 5. No, 300 divided by 5, 60,000 yung madadagdag through exercise ng rights. No? Since isa yung madadagdag sa bawat 5. 5 na bawat 300 ordinary shares. No, 300 divided by 5, that's additional 60,000 ordinary shares. Sakto na exercise mo yan noong April 1, 2024. Ibig sabihin, sir, from January 1 to March 31, ang shares mo lang dyan ay, syempre, 300K. Diba? 300K kasi hindi pa nga na-exercise yung rights. Kaya na-exercise yan April 1. Kaya beginning April 1, 360 ka na. 360 ka na beginning April 1. Okay? Pero from January 1 to March 31, 300K ka pa lang. Doon papasok yung kahalagahan ng adjustment factor. Take note, no? The number of ordinary shares outstanding prior prior to the exercise ng rights is multiplied by an adjustment factor. Yung 160 over 150 natin kanina. No? Whose numerator is the market value of the share right on and whose denominator is the market value of share X right. Remember, yan lang din yung statement number 1 natin. So, true yung statement number 1 natin. But this time, mag-focus ka muna dun sa adjustment factor kasi prior to the exercise ng rights, imamultiply mo daw to, yung 300K na yan, sa adjustment factor. So, anong kakalabasan? Di ba? So, sabi ko nga, 160 over 150 yung adjustment factor natin kanina. May January 1 ka. Yung January 1 mo, imumultiply mo ng 160 over 150. Pero, this time, i-average mo. Kasi nga po yung January 1 out to March 31, outstanding lang yan ng 3 buwan. Naging 300K ka lang naman ng 3 buwan. Pero naging 360K ka ng 9 buwan. No? So, 80K yan, i-plus mo sa 270K nung April 1, 360K, multiply by 9 out of 12. Remember, starting April 1, di ba? 360K na siya. Pero yung 360K na yan, di ba? Outstanding lang yan na siyam na buwan. Alright. So, 80 plus 270, that's 350K. E di kumpleto na. Feeling ko kumpleto ka na. Ay, or lastly pala. Di ba may net income ka na? Diba? Nabigay na rin yung net income mo na 6 million. No? But this time, yung preference dividends mo. Ang sabi dito, yung preference dividends mo daw are cumulative. Pero wala tayong nabasa dun sa problem na may declaration. No? This time, kahit walang declaration, may deduction. Magkano ang deduction? 1 taon lang. Yung 10% lang na annual preference dividend. So, net income, ibawas mo yung preference dividends divided by weighted average ordinary shares outstanding. Yung net income, wala namang binigay na ibang items, net income na yon. Kung meron mang ibigay, no, ignore mo na lang. Basta net income na yon. Bawas mo yung preference dividends, no? Pero, na-determine nga natin yung weighted average ordinary shares kanina, di ba, na 350K. Yun yung may adjustment factor. O, tignan na natin. Yung preference dividends daw, deducted yan from net income. Regardless of declaration. Since yung preference nga ay cumulative. Walang declaration na naganap. Pero alam mo na cumulative. No? Hence, may deduction pa rin. Regardless of declaration. Okay? So, 5 million na par value ng preference share, multiply mo sa dividend rate na 10%, 500. So, 6 million, bawas mo yung 500K divided by 350K, that's 15.71. So, ang basic earnings per share mo ay 15.71. No? So, ang sagot, no, all statements are, no? Yung statement 1, true po ito. Prior the exercise of the right, may adjustment factor po tayo. Yun po yung 160 over 150. And yung basic earnings per share natin, 15.70. Alright. So, that concludes no yung basic earnings per share natin. No? Sana marami kang natutunan. No? Andun na po lahat. No? Possible scenarios, di ba? Kaya, no? Sana marami kang naging learning sa video na ito. No? And lastly, no, naglalambing po ulit ako. No? Sana pa-subscribe naman po sa channel ko na para kung maging updated ka, di ba? Like, comment, no? And share mo na rin sa mga kaklase mong accountancy students din para malaman nila, di ba? For free. For free na malalaman mo yung basic earnings per share. Di ba? Nang hindi gumagastos. No? Kailangan mo lang ng dedication, di ba? Hard work, di ba? Para malaman ito. Di ba? At tapusin talaga yung video ko na kasi syempre nakarating ka dito, tinapos mo. Di ba? So, thank you guys, no? Thank you sa support, no? Suportahan niyo pa po yung YouTube channel ko and sana nag-enjoy ka. No? Yun naman yung mahalaga, no? Pag nag-aaral ka, 'di ba? Dapat mag-enjoy ka lang. All right? So, bye-bye guys. Thank you.